Okay. Bye-bye.
So I don't have to judge my no, actually, it's after. Someone
How excited are
I don't think that's going to happen. Over here somewhere.
So excited to be hosting this tonight. I think we're in for an amazing evening. My name is Jim Blanton. I'm the director of the library system, and I'd like to welcome you here tonight. I'm going to be introducing tonight's MC. Our MC tonight is Chris Graney. He's professor of physics and astronomy at Jefferson Community and Technical College. He has degrees from the University of Dayton in physics and the University of Virginia in astrophysics. Also, he helps run the Otter Creek South Harrison Observatory. He's the author of scholarly papers on subjects ranging from gas flows and clusters of galaxies and to the physics of ping pong. And I gotta say, I wish I'd known him like 20 years ago when I was regularly getting trounced at that UK and ping pong tournament. So it's really unfortunate I just got to know him tonight. He's also a member of the Louisville chapter of Sigma Chi, the Scientific Research Society, and tonight's amazing program was his brainchild, and we wholeheartedly thank Chris and Sigma Chi and JCTC for making the library part of this experience. So I'd like you to join me in welcoming Chris Graney.
All right, thank you. And thank you all for coming. I'm really happy to see so many Louisvillians turned out here for science. As he said, I'm a professor of physics and astronomy at Jefferson Community and Technical College here in Louisville. My name's Chris Graney, and I'm also the president of the Louisville chapter of Sigma Chi, the Scientific Research Society. Sigma Chi is an old organization. It was founded in 1886. Its mission is to enhance the health of the research enterprise, to foster integrity in science and engineering, and to promote the public's understanding of science for the purpose of improving the human condition. The Louisville chapter dates to the 1850s. Our membership consists in large part of researchers in science, medicine, and engineering from the University of Louisville, such as our treasurer here, Dr. Lloyd Skettleman of the Louisville School of Dentistry. But we also have members from industry and from other institutions, like me. Okay, I'm from Jefferson, obviously. We want and need new members. Full membership is open to those who are publishing scientific research, but there are student and associate membership levels as well. Please see me or Dr. Gettleman, who's over this way. Where if you can stand for a second, there we go. If you are interested in being a part of this organization that is making tonight happen. The Sigma Chi is not making this happen on its own, and so there's some thanks that are in order. First, I need to thank my college, Jefferson Community and Technical College. Not only did Jefferson contribute to this evening specifically, but it has generally, over the years, encouraged and supported this professor's research into the history of astronomy. Regarding this latter point, I especially thank Jefferson's provost, Diane Calhoun French, and its just retired president, Anthony Newberry. Mind you, Jefferson is a teaching institution, but nonetheless, we Jefferson faculty members are asked to serve the community and the institution, to advise our students, to engage in professional activity, which can include research if it doesn't require money. Okay. Fortunately, history of astronomy scholarship can be pretty cheap. Okay. And when your college encourages and supports oddball things like history of astronomy scholarship, you might study the ideas of 17th century astronomers, many of whom were Jesuits. And you might end up in touch with a 21st century Jesuit astronomer, Guy Consolmagno. Or you might go to a history of astronomy conference where you might meet Trudy Bell, an editor at Sky and Telescope magazine, who interests you in Ormsby Mitchel speeches and how the text of them was widely published and is still available. And so now I also thank the Frazier History Museum, because when you hear Trudy Bell talk about how cool it would be to hear one of Mitchel's speeches, you might immediately think, Frazier Museum teaching artists. They speak so well using the voices of historical figures every day. And in particular, you might think of Tony Dingman, who can be a medieval bowman, a Civil War officer, or an Elizabethan swashbuckler. And you might guess he'd be interested in a Cincinnati astronomer, and he was. And finally, I think the library, and especially Paul Burns, who is back there, okay, who certainly was interested in all this. Paul and I have worked on projects before, and a couple of months ago, when I happened to be visiting the library, as I often am, we ran into each other in that hall over there, and Paul mentioned, hey, if you have any interesting projects in the work, and, well, here we are, okay? The library has done a bucket load of legwork on this. They've put all this stuff together. So this is actually quite a team that has made this happen this evening. Sigma Psi, Jefferson Community and Technical College, the Frazier History Museum, and the Louisville Free Public Library, and of course our two speakers. Okay, so let me introduce this evening's first speaker. General Ormsby Mitchel. He's portrayed by Tony Dingman. Tony Dingman is, as I mentioned previously, a teaching artist at the Frazier Museum, and is also involved in theater in Louisville in various ways, including the Lepidamine and the Think Tank theater ensembles. He also is interested, he's been interested in astronomy since he was a kid, and so he's pretty happy to be being an astronomer that he's portraying. That's Ormsby Mitchel. Ormsby Mitchel was born in Union County in Kentucky in 1810. He is a graduate of West Point, where he was classmates with Robert E. Lee and Joseph E. Johnston. After graduation, he served as assistant professor of mathematics at West Point. And then he went up to Cincinnati, where he became an attorney and served as chief engineer for the Little Miami Railroad in Ohio. In 1836, he became a professor at Cincinnati College. There, Mitchell founded and was the first director of the Cincinnati Observatory. In this capacity, he became famous for his ability to enthrall crowds with his descriptions of the universe. The Cincinnati Observatory's webpage describes him as the first American popularizer of astronomy, the Carl Sagan of the 19th century. Mitchell wrote and edited the first astronomical publication in the United States. In the Civil War, he served for the Union as a general. He was involved in the Great Locomotive Chase, an effort to disrupt the Confederate-held rail line between Atlanta and Chattanooga. And he organized the defenses around Cincinnati in northern Kentucky. In fact, the town of Fort Mitchell in northern Kentucky is named for him. He died in the Civil War at age 52, but he is back tonight. Please welcome General Ormsby Mitchel.
Awaken your sympathies on behalf of a suffering nation. I come not accompanied with a spirit-stirring trump of war sounding in your ears. I come not to rouse you to great commercial efforts, where the wealth of the world is to be the result of enterprise. Far away from the planet Earth, in the boundless ocean of space, mighty worlds wing their rapid flight, voiceless in their movement, silent in their careers, and while they sweep onward on their courses, they are measuring out vast periods of time. Their configurations toll the deep-toned bell of eternity itself. These are the objects to which I would raise your minds and to which I would direct your attentions this evening. Let us leave this world of ours for a short time. Its cares, its woes, its turmoils, and converse with the far-off stars. When we look upon the heavens and we watch the movements of those silent orbs, can we contemplate that scene without being filled with wonder and astonishment? This scene opened for the first time upon the very first human eyes which were permitted to see the light. And from that very first moment down through succeeding ages, we find the human mind occupied, our eyes fastened upon, always directing our gaze. The human mind occupied in its efforts to solve these mysteries. The science to which I would direct your attention this evening is one which has furnished the theme for the minds of all of the highest intellects in every age. And we find year after year, from the first observation to the present moment, these minds engaged in this effort to solve these mysteries, pressing onward and onward until the darkness disappears. And light, even a flood of light, breaks in from the heavens upon the victorious soul. And thus must it always be. God has given us these works for our examination. And He has given us this intellect by which we are enabled to comprehend their structures. And it is by this that we are enabled to rise, to climb, to soar. By our own efforts and by His aid. In the next few moments that I shall detain you this evening, allow me to direct your attention to the scale upon which the universe is built and to the grand problem involved in solving the mysteries by which it is surrounded. First, let us inquire if there be laws which govern the movements of these heavenly bodies, and if it possible for us to ascertain the nature of these laws. Are they beyond the reach of the intellect which has been furnished us? I answer, they are not. They are within our reach, and we are permitted to understand them. The first law is the law of motion. If an object be located in space and receive a single impulse, it will move forward in a straight line, never turning to the right nor the left, nor relaxing its speed. And then we have gravity. And what is this? This law tells us that every particle in the universe attracts every other particle with a force which is proportionate to its mass and which decreases in a certain ratio to the distance. Combining these two, we have the laws which govern the movement of all the heavenly bodies. They are simple, easily understood. With these laws at our command, let us examine the structure of our own system, for this shall be our type and model. Let us move to the sun.